The afternoon sun cast long shadows through the wrought iron gates of Madison Academy, one of the city's most exclusive private schools, as 42-year-old Richard Blackwood arrived to pick up his 8-year-old daughter Charlotte. His tailored charcoal suit and expensive watch reflected his position as CEO of Blackwood Industries, a technology empire worth billions. But his tired eyes showed the strain of a single father trying to balance corporate demands with raising his daughter alone since his wife's death 3 years earlier. Richard had enrolled Charlotte at Madison Academy, believing that the best education money could buy would give her every advantage in life. The school's reputation for academic excellence and exclusive student body seemed to offer the kind of environment where Charlotte could develop the skills and connections that would serve her well in the privileged world she was destined to inherit. As Richard approached the school's pickup area, he noticed something unusual happening near the school's fence. His daughter Charlotte, dressed in her pristine navy blue school uniform with its crisp white collar, was sitting on the ground next to a girl who appeared to be about the same age but whose circumstances were clearly very different. The second girl wore a simple grey dress that showed signs of wear and staining, and her brown hair looked like it had not been professionally styled in quite some time. Most striking of all, she appeared to be teaching Charlotte something from a worn notebook, pointing to pages and explaining concepts with a kind of enthusiasm that suggested genuine love of learning. Richard found himself moving closer to observe this unexpected interaction, curious about who this child was and how she had come to be at his daughter's exclusive school. "You see, Charlotte," the girl was saying as Richard approached within earshot, "when you multiply fractions, you multiply the top numbers together and the bottom numbers together. It is like making a recipe smaller. If you have half of a half, you get a quarter." Charlotte nodded with obvious understanding, her face bright with the kind of engagement Richard rarely saw when she talked about her regular schoolwork. "That makes so much sense, Maya. The way you explain it is so much clearer than how Mrs. Peterson teaches it." Richard was struck by several things simultaneously: his daughter's obvious respect for this girl named Maya, the sophisticated way Maya was explaining mathematical concepts, and the fact that Maya appeared to be teaching material that was likely above Charlotte's current grade level. "Maya, where did you learn to teach math like that?" Charlotte asked with genuine curiosity. Maya's expression grew more serious. "My mama taught me before she got really sick. She used to be a teacher before things got hard for us. She always said that learning was the most important thing anyone could have, because it was something nobody could ever take away from you." Richard felt his chest tighten as he began to understand Maya's circumstances. The careful way she spoke about her mother's illness and their hardships suggested a level of maturity and resilience that no child should need to develop. "Maya, do you go to school here?" Charlotte asked innocently. Maya shook her head with a wistful expression. "No, I do not go to school anywhere right now. Mama and I have been staying at different places, and it is hard to register for school when you do not have a permanent address. But I try to keep learning on my own using books from the library." Richard was profoundly moved by Maya's dedication to education despite facing challenges that would overwhelm most adults. Here was a child who was essentially homeless, yet was not only continuing her own education but was capable of teaching complex concepts to other children. "Daddy!" Charlotte exclaimed, suddenly noticing Richard's approach. "This is my friend Maya. She is the smartest person I have ever met, and she has been helping me understand fractions." Maya immediately stood up, her posture showing both respect and slight wariness as she recognized Richard's expensive clothing and obvious wealth. "I am sorry, sir. I was not trying to bother your daughter. She seemed confused about her homework, and I just wanted to help." Richard knelt down to Maya's eye level, struck by the intelligence and dignity in her brown eyes. "Please do not apologize, Maya. Charlotte is right. You clearly are very smart, and I am grateful that you took the time to help her understand her schoolwork." "Maya does not go to school here," Charlotte announced with the directness that only children possess. "She does not go to school anywhere because she and her mama do not have a house right now. But she knows more math than anyone in my class." Richard felt his heart break at Charlotte's innocent revelation and Maya's obvious embarrassment about her family's situation. "Maya," Richard said gently, "would you be willing to tell me more about your circumstances? I might be able to help you and your mother find some resources." Maya studied Richard's face carefully, clearly weighing whether to trust this stranger with personal information. "My mama has been really sick, and we lost our apartment when she could not work anymore. We have been staying at shelters and with people who help us sometimes. Mama says we just need to keep trying and things will get better. Richard was struck by Maya's loyalty to her mother and her mature understanding of their difficult situation. "Where is your mother now?" "She is at the free clinic getting medicine," Maya replied. "I come here sometimes because the library nearby has good books, and I like to watch the kids playing at recess. It helps me remember what regular school is like." Richard made a decision that felt both spontaneous and completely inevitable. "Maya, I would like to meet your mother and discuss some ways that I might be able to help your family. Would that be all right with you?" 2 hours later, Richard was sitting in the waiting room of the free clinic with Maya, waiting to meet her mother. When Sarah Martinez emerged from her appointment, Richard was struck by the dignity and grace she maintained despite her obvious illness and challenging circumstances. Sarah was a woman in her early 30s whose thin frame and pale complexion spoke of ongoing health struggles, but her eyes showed the same intelligence and strength that her daughter possessed. "Mama, this is Mr. Blackwood," Maya said as she ran to her mother's side. "His daughter Charlotte goes to the fancy school, and he wants to help us." Sarah looked at Richard with a mixture of gratitude and caution. "That is very kind of you, Mr. Blackwood, but I hope Maya has not been asking for charity. I have taught her that we take care of ourselves." "Maya has not asked for anything," Richard assured her. "In fact, I found her teaching my daughter mathematics with a skill and patience that impressed me greatly. I wanted to meet you because I believe Maya has exceptional potential that deserves support." Over the next hour, Richard learned about Sarah's background as a former elementary school teacher who had lost her job due to budget cuts, followed by a series of medical crises that had depleted their savings and led to their current homelessness. "I have been trying to keep Maya's education going despite our circumstances," Sarah explained. "She is so bright and loves learning so much. I do not want her to fall behind because of our temporary difficulties." Richard was moved by Sarah's dedication to her daughter's education despite facing overwhelming challenges. "Sarah, I would like to propose something that I hope you will consider. Maya clearly has extraordinary gifts as both a student and a teacher. I would like to offer her a full scholarship to Madison Academy, along with housing and support services for your family." Sarah stared at him with disbelief. "Mr. Blackwood, that is incredibly generous, but I could not accept such charity. I need to be able to provide for my daughter myself." "I understand your pride," Richard replied respectfully. "But what if this was not charity, but an investment in Maya's potential? In exchange for the educational opportunity, Maya could serve as a peer tutor for other students who are struggling academically. Her teaching abilities are remarkable, and she could help other children while continuing her own education." Maya looked between her mother and Richard with hope and excitement. "Mama, I could keep learning and help other kids learn too. It would be like you taught me. Sharing knowledge makes everyone stronger." 6 months later, as Richard watched Maya confidently leading a study group of Madison Academy students through advanced mathematical concepts, he reflected on how a chance encounter had transformed multiple lives in ways he never could have anticipated. Maya had not only excelled academically at her new school but had revolutionized the peer tutoring program with her innovative teaching methods and genuine care for struggling students. Her success had inspired the creation of a scholarship fund for other academically gifted children from disadvantaged backgrounds. Sarah had recovered her health with access to proper medical care and had been hired as the coordinator of the school's new community outreach program, using her teaching background to develop educational support services for local families. Charlotte had gained not just a tutor but a best friend who had taught her that intelligence and character were more important than wealth or social status. And Richard had discovered that the most meaningful investments were not in stock portfolios or real estate, but in recognizing and nurturing the potential that exists in every child, regardless of their circumstances. Maya had shown him that sometimes the most valuable teachers are not found in prestigious institutions, but sitting on sidewalks, sharing knowledge with anyone willing to learn.